Farmers say we love the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every mother must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris.
I'm Russ.
And this is episode 284.
284, back in the virtual nerd basement. Welcome once again, everybody, on this scorchingly hot Tuesday in July.
Yeah, we had,
July, guys.
I saw at one point earlier it was 100, it feels like 100. But you know what? We don't have the wildfires and shit that England's dealing with right now.
Wildfires in England?
Yeah, London's burning right now. There's like fires popping up all over in London because they're up around 100 degrees as well. And they never get this hot.
Yep. I believe they're saying that Biden's going to be making some kind of an announcement tomorrow about climate change or something. Some big things are going to be announced or something.
Hey, CD.
Yay, buddy.
Yeah, you're right. It's not the heat, it's the humidity. And it truly is. I actually can deal with dry heat better than I can deal with humid heat. But 100 degrees is still 100 fucking degrees.
Yeah, fucking way. Right.
I don't want to be outside in it either way. It's just if it's 100 degrees and dry, I don't walk outside and instantly become coated in sweat.
Right.
Whereas here, I go outside for 10 seconds and I come in and feel like I need a shower.
It was rough today. I was at work and it wasn't too bad until after 2, and that's when the temperature spiked in the studio. It was about 86 degrees in the studio or so, 86, 87, and then when it hit 92, we were like, holy shit. So we got out a little early, and then I ended up going to my other gig for a couple hours before I came here because they called me and they were a little worried that the couple of things that are supposed to go out on Sunday weren't going to be quite ready. I mean, they're fine, but they're like, nitpicking at the details. So I'm going to be spending a couple extra hours there this week. But it'll be a nice little paycheck considering I also got paid for being Oliver over the weekend, so that was nice too.
But yeah, right now England is having like record heat. They're in the 90s, damn near 100, and most people don't have air over there because it never gets that hot. And what's weird is I started looking at Ireland, and they're still in the like 60s and low 70s.
I think I saw a TikTok or something of that one blonde Irish girl that we've watched a couple of times. I think I've sent you some Instagram where she talks about Irish words and stuff like that. And she made kind of a post about how like it's like if Ireland gets over 80 degrees and then she's just in a pool just dumping water on herself or something. Oh yeah. It is hot, motherfuckers. It's really hot.
Yeah, it is.
And it's hot like this all over the country. We're in a serious heat wave.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Looking ahead, I think our lowest high in the next 2 weeks is like 82.
Yeah, it's gonna be, the weekend is gonna be rough. I am not. I mean, as much as I like playing Oliver, boy, I'll tell you, I ain't looking forward to those temperatures this weekend because it is supposed to be very hot.
Yeah,
it's looking at like a high of 91 on Saturday, high 86 on Sunday, but rainy on Sunday. So who knows? We'll see.
Well, and that's the thing. It's supposed to be like 90, right around 90 tomorrow, but it's supposed to be severe thunderstorms with possible severe. And
Oh,
of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
it's Wednesday, so I know it's going to rain because I golf on Wednesdays, and it has rained just about every single Wednesday since the golf season started. But I actually kind of
All
hope it
right.
does rain in the afternoon tomorrow, and that it is some thunderstorms because that'll mean golf gets canceled. And I I want that actually. Oh,
Mm.
yeah,
That's the usual say.
yeah,
Ghost, man, that doesn't, man, you
yeah.
can't
But
compare
see,
that shit,
no, and
man.
see, here's the other thing, Ghost. In Brazil, you're used to that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's normal for you. Here,
The goddamn Amazon.
yeah. Well, for part of it, Brazil's a goddamn big country, dude. That's it. It's huge.
Yeah, but the Amazon rainforest takes up a big, big part
Oh
of
yeah,
it. So
but still, yeah, I understand. Yes, anything equatorial. Um, yeah. Oh,
oh man.
Renee laughs at it too. Yeah, I
So
totally understand that, Ghost. I totally get it. But yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
So so how was your week
well, it's like my
otherwise?
buddy talks about Australia too. It's the same thing.
Oh, for
Where he
sure,
grew
yeah.
up in Australia, it's easily over 100 every day in the summer.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
Except their summer is in December,
yeah,
which is weird. How was your week?
I was pretty good. Wait, what did we say? We do the same thing when people bitch about the snow, and we're like, meh. That's true.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
um,
Very true.
but my week was fine. Excuse me. We wound up not having our tavern talk show last night.
Yeah.
There's too many people. Pete's on vacation. It's summer. It's hard to
Yeah.
get people
It's
together.
hard to do it.
Luckily, yep. Luckily,
I
I
was
think
working.
everyone's going to be there for the game this week. So I mean, I
Yeah.
did get to do some painting last night, which is the first time
Oh,
I've done
good.
painting in a while. Painted up a couple of minis. Actually,
Yeah,
got
you
two
said
of
you were
them
going to work
finished.
on the game, so
Yeah, yeah, and so that's what I've been doing. Looking at different things because you guys are at a crucial point in the game right now, and I need to really start figuring out what I'm doing next and how I want to play it out. So, and it's all going to depend on you guys too, on what you decide to do. But yeah, other than that, it was work. I went to a party at a friend's house on Friday. That was cool. It was a bunch of curling friends.
okay,
So that was a
cool,
good time.
cool.
Played in a cornhole tournament on Thursday last week, and as my buddy put it, we won in fun.
You won in fun, huh?
Yeah. We didn't win a game. We lost 3 of our 5 games. We lost 18-21. So we were right there on the edge, but we just couldn't put them away.
All right.
So
Oh, good old cornhole.
yep, yeah, I'll be playing again this week. The new league should start on Thursdays this week. But yeah, other than that, it was just work. Getting a lot of stuff done at work. So I feel good about that. Still enjoying the job.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty then, man. That's good.
Playing with the idea of moving to Ireland, though.
Yeah, you know. I don't blame you, man, with the state of this world right now, and
Yep.
state of this country, and the state of everything. That's going to be an expensive move, Chris.
Yeah, I would, but still.
Yeah, so, but
hell, I'd even move to Canada, but Renee doesn't want to do that. So
Canada,
it's America Junior.
America.
Oh, there goes my Canadian citizenship. I just made that joke.
You're straight up. You're screwed now. So I performed over the weekend at Canterbury Village. It was their first week of our medieval festival or medieval fair, actually. And they call it medieval fair. It's just a fucking mini run fair, It's small, but really a lot of fun. It reminded me as to why I got into festivals to start with. I'm still my fingernails painted.
Mm-hmm.
I
was gonna say that looks cool, man.
That's silver. It's called Steal Me a Kiss.
Nice.
It's metallic. So it's
hey, guys can do that too.
Absolutely. No, actually, I don't dislike it. I think it looks kind of cool.
Yeah. I've thought about it. I've just never done it. It's a lot to maintain. Matt Mercer does it now all the time. He's always got his nails painted.
Sure. Yeah, there's like, I mean, why not? But anyway, so I was there. It was really cool. I was on the news on Sunday morning at 9:15 on Fox 2. They interviewed me and the other couple of figures. They did like segments every 15 minutes.
I realized that I'd have thrown it on, man.
It was kind of last minute. I was like,
yeah. I was up.
Well, I mean, unfortunately I didn't get a chance to see. I didn't get to see it. I was trying to find
it online.
I was trying to find it online, but because it was live,
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not famous. I'm infamous, perhaps, but they.
Everybody knows Top Hat Russ.
Yeah.
Cops that pull you over know Top Hat Russ.
That has happened. Hey, aren't you? Yes, I am. No bullshit, that did happen once. So it was a lot of fun though. I mean, it was maybe not quite as well attended as we would have liked, but it wasn't dead either. There's some really great, I mean, Wakefire, Roan, Black Murray.
I really like Wakefire a lot.
Yeah, Wakefire was great. Russ wasn't there because he had tested positive for COVID, so he was still quarantining himself. He'll be there next week, and then but a lot of the rest of the band was, and then a new little like 2-person, a duo called Ironwood. They were there. They were a really kind of sweet couple performers from Troy, and I was like, wow, really, I'll buy the CD, and what else? I helped create 2 new characters because the 2 new fairy characters. We had this one character, Aubrey, or this performer Aubrey. She's a stilt walker, and so she did this like fae character, and she was the tree fairy, and she was the abnormally tall sprite, I think is what she called herself. And Wilhelmina, I think is what her name was, and then our mushroom fairy, which was Anita. I'm Anita, and yeah, man, it was a good.
I might eat a mushroom.
It was supposed to be. It's actually very poisonous mushroom. Is what it was, but it was a blast, man. It was. Russ, when and where did you get your first top hat? Oh wow, this is some trivia.
I was waiting for a break to bring that up, but yeah.
My very first top hat I was working in a Halloween store in my mid-20s, and I still have it. It was a costumed top hat. It was, like $20, and it was relatively cheap. And I used to wear that to the cons. I would wear that to the sci-fi cons and whatnot. And the people started calling me Top Hat or Top Hat Russ. And like I said, it was a cheesy, like chintzy, cheapy one. In fact, this one right here is similar in what it was. This one was made for me by the fairies down in Florida. A little dusty, but yeah, my fairies down in Florida, my first year made me this. It was really very sweet. It's got a little bit of representation of all of them, and it was really sweet. So yeah, my first top hat was a thanks, CD. Whoa.
Whoa.
So my very first top hat was kind of a cheapy kind of one that I wore for a long time, and I still wear it, or I don't wear it, but I still have it. And then I bought a full-on nicer felt Mad Hatter's top hat, probably in my later 20s. I was probably about 28 or so, and I've had that for a very long time, and I still wear that for like more dress-up occasions. Like I wore it to my wedding and things like that. And then my leather top hat I got probably about 12 years ago now, 10, 12 years ago. No, I've had it, God, more like 15 years ago, I think now, because I've been in this house for 10 years and I've had it longer than that. And so my leather top hat, which was the very first Blonde Swan leather top hat, it was Alex's prototype. So I have his very first big Blonde Swan top hat. Because in all seriousness, I thought you were bald for like 10 years because I'd never seen you without it. I am obviously not bald. I have, yes, I rarely go out of the house without my hat. Just a thing. And it is true that a lot of people don't recognize me without it. It's kind of funny. But now that we have delved into the history of Top Hat Russ, but yeah, the guys, come on out. We got one more weekend of the Michigan Medieval Fair. We've got there's full contact jousting. The joust team from the Michigan Renaissance Festival is there. We've got they bring one of their Pegasi, which is fun. You don't often see a brown Pegasus, but they even it's even got brown wings. It's great. It's beautiful. We've got some great vendors, some really fun stuff you might see at a Renaissance Festival, and stuff that you might not. It's a good time. It's reasonably priced, and a nice primer to Ren Fair. If you're planning on going, and you can kind of give you a warm up, so to speak. But it's a lot of fun, and you get to see me. You get to see me in all my glory as Oliver Ogre. Cool thing is, I had like a number of people like recognized me from the news. They saw me on the news that morning, and one family came that said, "We came here just to see you." Stop it. That's just her. And I did also meet my very first Instagram famous some people. I met for those of you guys who are familiar with Two Turns Tony, he's a guy out of, I believe, Milford, and he is this good-looking model that has an OnlyFans, and he does all kinds of kooky, crazy shit in town. And he roped his parents into it, into his shenanigans. And his parents came to the event, and I recognized them, and I got to talk with them and hang out with them, kind of hung out with them for a minute, and they were very nice, and they talked to me again at a later point and asked me to kind of film a little something potentially for their Instagram and TikTok page. And if you really want to see some funny shit,
make sure that they reference Drinking Nerds.
Yeah, no kidding, right? If you want to see some funny shit, Two Turns Tony on Instagram and TikTok. It's TOOTURNTTONY, and you won't regret it. Like an example, the guy took 20 grand. Apparently he's got 17.5 million followers on TikTok. He's extremely successful on OnlyFans. Out of his first check he got from OnlyFans, it took $20,000 in cash from that first check, apparently, and then paid off his sister's student loans. He just put the cash in a duffel bag and hooked it at her, and then just hit her, and she's like, "What the fuck? What is this?" And he's like, "That's your student loans, paid for in full. I'm a penis." And he did a similar thing for his father, to paid off his father's debt so he could retire. And I'm just like, holy shit, this guy's pretty cool. So anyway, that was my weekend. And then unfortunately, then on Monday I had to go to a viewing for a dear old family friend, like my oldest friends. Literally, we've known each other since we were 3 years old. We met in preschool. Her father passed away, and he was one of my parents. They were some of my parents' best friends, and he passed away. So I got to I had to go drive out to Northville, and it was a hell of a day because I worked, and then I drove out to Northville, and I made an appearance at the viewing, and then I turned around and came back, and then changed my clothes, and then went and worked for 3 hours at 3.5 hours at this other job that I'm doing. I was tired. I'm still tired. I'm very tired.
Ghost Hand. I never actually performed. I can understand that, enjoying it and missing it if you don't do it. I always wanted to do it, but I never had enough I was always too insecure to actually do it.
You just got to do it, man. That's actually what I was like. I until I did finally take that plunge. I did stage crew in 9th grade, and then I moved out to Phoenix, and 10th grade I did pretty much nothing. And then 11th grade, I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it for a play. And I'm doing it ever since. Sometimes it's a little less than others, but that was the thing. Ren Fair kind of gave me that, kind of scratched that itch for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That's why it's always.
Well, and that was the other thing. Like even Ren Fair, I've never actually worked Ren Fair because I've never had the confidence to do it.
Yeah, you know what? You're not missing out on.
No, and after hearing some of the stories and seeing the way that some people get treated, I'm not overly worried about not having done that.
In all honesty, the Renaissance Festival, wonderful place, wonderful people, wonderful experience. I'd have to say overall, my experience working at the Ren Fair is a very positive one. It's just it ended poorly, and working at the Michigan Renaissance Festival just ended poorly.
Management sucks.
Management sucks there. Absolutely, they are, and the owner is a crook, and it starts from the top down. You know,
yep.
So,
but yeah, I can see missing it. I think I would miss it if I stopped doing like D&D. That's my performance. That's where I perform, is in D&D. I mean, I've done little things, like I've been a participatron out at the fair where we've we haven't been characters or anything, but we would play it up when people would ask for photos and things like that because they thought we worked there.
Right. Well, that's pretty common, yeah.
So, but yeah, D&D and things like that, I love
Dungeons and Dragons is a form of performance.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Improv. A lot of improv.
Right, exactly. So what are you drinking?
I am drinking a beer that I picked up. So I've reviewed several of these over the last couple of years. Because they come out, it's Dragon's Milk Reserve from New Holland. This is the latest one. They come out with one every quarter. This particular one is their 2022 Reserve number 2. And it doesn't actually have a name, but it is bourbon barrel aged stout with stroopwafel cookies, coffee, caramel, and cinnamon. And stroopwafel. I didn't know what the fuck a stroopwafel was. I had to look it up.
Very curious. I don't know what a stroopwafel is.
I've seen them. They are a syrup waffle. That's another alternative name. A treacle waffle or a caramel waffle. They're from Holland. It's a thin, round waffle cookie made from 2 layers of sweet baked dough held together by caramel filling. They're really thin.
I've seen those. Yeah, they're like they're dipping cookies. Yeah, you're supposed to eat them with coffee and stuff.
Yeah, things like that. But so this pours like, and there's what the label looks like. It's nice. It's got a cool blue on it. So the beer pours very dark, like it should.
Very dark.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Now you probably can't tell no, I can't. There we go. You can kind of see in the top there. There's particulates in there. I think those are pieces of cookie.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. It looks like little pieces of cookie floating in my cookie crumbs floating in my beer. I'm gonna take another sip. I've only taken one sip so far. This is fucking delicious.
The way you paused, it could have gone either way.
Yeah, this is amazing. It is so good. And yep, here comes the door. I expected that. We have a Renee on the show now because she came up to try and.
We have a wings cook on the screen.
She wanted to taste it, and Trevor came running in. So yeah, so she said that's outstanding. If you didn't hear it, but yeah, it says
wings. CD, do you have some, or did you just because you said $7 a bottle around? Oh, okay, so he's seen it.
Oh, there 8.5 for me. $7 a bottle around here. Yeah, I got a 4-pack for I think it was like $20.
Christ.
But he's had it. Dragon's Milk Reserve is a treasure trove for the adventurous spirit. Every entry in the Reserve series is crafted to push the boundaries of our signature stout by exploring unique ingredients and barrels. An epic journey awaits. This adventure begins with a slumber in select bourbon barrels, imparting notes of vanilla and oak to this brew. A tantalizing blend of baked stroopwafel cookies, sweet caramel, aromatic cinnamon, and freshly roasted coffee provide a delectable dessert-like finish, completing the quest. Raise a glass to victory. It is 11% ABV.
Shit.
Yeah, so it ain't fooling around.
Yeah, but it's not fucking around.
But yeah, I'm gonna give this a solid 4.75 to 5. This is absolutely spectacular.
Alrighty then.
I think I'm gonna go with a 4.75 because maybe there's room for a little bit of improvement, but overall, this is so good. And I think it's gonna get even better as it warms up just a little bit. But yeah, this is so I might have to try and find some more of this and pick some more up because this is it is dessert in a glass. Fan-fucking-tastic. So
alrighty then. That's great, man.
So what about you? What are you drinking? Anything?
You know what? I'm just having a tropical Angry Orchard tonight. I had the 6-pack in there. It's quite tasty. And I just kind of wanted to keep working on this. This is pineapple and passion fruit. They're from Angry Orchard. It's kind of their newest flavor. I gotta say, man, it's pretty nice. It's one of these ones that's almost growing on me a little bit. Like I liked it initially, but I think I like it even more now.
Mm. Oh, and yes, CD, I think I kind of can. There's definitely a lot of. I didn't really describe the flavor. There's a lot of cinnamon. You get some coffee. You get some caramel, and then at the end, it's almost like a graham cracker taste at the end, is what I'm getting. Could be a mix of the coffee and cinnamon to that's really coming through, and it's that blend, but it's really fucking good. So sorry, Russ.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. I didn't have a whole lot. I've reviewed this, at least once before. It's solid. It's a really solid new flavor. I mean, it's sweet. It's definitely probably one of the sweetest ciders that Angry Orchard has put out. I mean, it tastes a lot like kind of fruit cocktail. It's got that fruit cocktail note. But it's really nice. So a little bit of pina colada in there.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to try that one. Because I like that flavor combo. CD says that he's got a mouthful. A maple pecan praline wake and bake coffee oatmeal imperial stout reserve from Terrapin.
Jesus, yeah, that sounds like a lot.
He said it's heaven in a glass.
Heaven in a glass.
So
taste the stroop as much. Agree is decent, but lots of dry stuff. You have to Google it. Okay. Yeah, you're right. A lot of the Angry Orchard stuff is very dry, which I like it for the most part. This stuff is definitely sweeter. The hard fruit cider is what they're calling it. Yeah. So guys, check it out. The new Dragon Milk Reserve and Angry Orchard Tropical. Check them out.
right.
We should.
I'm looking up the maple pecan praline wake and bake. So yeah, coffee imperial oatmeal imperial stout. Is that even available here? Let's see. Can I find it? Sorry, I'm on a quest now.
It's okay. Ghosty, is it harder to get that, some of this stuff down there in Brazil? I mean, I'd imagine Brazil has their own kinds of beers and ciders and whatnot that are extra, that are just are extra, I would imagine, Brazil being what it is. I mean, honestly, I know very little about Brazil, so other than Carnival, I guess. Yes, the Amazon is there, but yeah, let us know. Tell us about some of the beers and whatnot that are down in that area of the world.
I'll have to look for this later. Right now, I'm only seeing like Florida and South Carolina, but see if it's around here somewhere. All right, so yeah, so we should get moving now. But yeah, I'd be interested in hearing more about like things in Brazil as well.
So kicking things off, Chris and I are old fans of Vampire the Masquerade and the role-playing game and the video game Bloodlines, which came out in 2004. Now, a couple of years ago, they did announce, White Wolf had announced that they would be making a new video game set in the classic World of Darkness era, the second edition, which was their most famous and most well-liked story setting. As you can see behind me, I have a screaming crap ton of the books right there. Those are all fucking World of Darkness books.
Most of mine are packed away in my treasure trunk, which is all my old gaming stuff that I don't use right now.
I like to display mine, but
I don't have the room.
Right, I know. So, anyway, they in 2004 they made an amazing video game, computer game that a lot of people felt was kind of a game changer, so to speak. I mean, the way they made the game, the graphics that were available, the gameplay, the story elements, and everything. It was a superior game. It had some very interesting bugs, but you could get around them. And I actually found this downstairs. Because I was able to get Bloodlines 1 on Steam, I found my old guidebook.
Oh, wow.
Did you not? Yeah. Still in pretty good shape, actually, too. Back when you pretty much had to buy a guidebook for almost any video game that was produced back in the day.
There was no Google.
There was no Google. There were search engines.
Yeah.
But there weren't not like Google. And I mean, yeah, you could go online, you could maybe find stuff, but honestly, these were still you just buy the game and then for another $10 or $15, you just end up counting this into the cost of the game. So it was a very, very popular game, had an amazing soundtrack, just really, really cool stuff. They about 3 years ago, they announced they would be making a long-awaited sequel. The Bloodlines 2. And it would be also, once again, set in the classic book or original kind of setting there. Because there have been multiple editions of the World of Darkness since then. Now, unfortunately, last year, it was announced that pretty much all of the work that had been done on Bloodlines 2 had to have been shit canned. They pretty much tossed all of it in the garbage. And they were like, sorry, guys, but for whatever reason, we have to move on. They'd even brought in the original writer of the original game and some of the writing team, the original writing team. And they just, Paradox, the company Paradox had basically said, nope, this all sucks. And they had to shit can the whole thing. Now, today, an article was released. It says Bloodlines 2 is still in development and in good hands, because that's the thing. A lot of people didn't know what the hell is going on. People that had pre-bought the game, were like, hey, we haven't heard anything about what's going on. It says, we look forward to showing you more when the team and the game is ready. On over a year after Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 was indefinitely delayed, the CEO of publisher Paradox is assuring fans that the game is still in development. Bloodlines 2 is in development, and we'll let you know more when we are ready, Paradox CEO Frederick Wester says on Twitter in response to a fan's question about the state of the game. Wester says he gets this question on Twitter every now and then and follows up with an assurance that the game is in good hands. We look forward to showing you more when the team and the game is ready. The follow-up to cult classic PC RPG originally released in 2004, Bloodlines 2 was indefinitely delayed in February of 2021 as Paradox announced that the game would no longer be led by developer Hardsuit Labs. Hardsuit Labs is primarily known for support work on projects led by other studios, assisting in development on everything from Call of Duty, Warzone to Maneater. No new developer has yet been named in a financial report last year. Paradox CFO Alexander Bricka said that was because we prefer to give the studio a situation where they can focus fully on the game development and not having to address fans reaching out to them. Sounds like double talk to me, but okay. Wester revealed in an interview last year that Bloodlines 2 was nearly canceled before Paradox chose a new developer based on a pitch that we thought was convincing enough to push forward. Last month, a number of previously unseen screenshots of the original version of Bloodlines 2 seemingly leaked, giving us an idea of what it might have looked like. So thankfully, this game, this one of the most highly anticipated games in recent years, because it was, man, when they announced it, the internet went nuts. Gaming communities all over were just like, oh my God, I can't wait for this game. And then 2 years later, when we were supposed to see, I mean, the pandemic happened, so that was a thing. But, and I'm sure that didn't help the situation, but they definitely screwed the pooch, so to speak. And had to pretty much start from scratch.
Yeah, Ghost's got some comments. He says that he's really worried that Bloodlines 2 is in development hell, and that he feels they feel in their gut that they wanted to switch engines, and the compatibility issues made them can all their work.
That sounds.
And it wouldn't be the first time it happened in the industry. And you're right.
Oh no. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think I read something about that too. That there was questions about which engine to use and things like that. So, man, I don't care as long as they fucking put the game out, man. I mean, it looked beautiful.
It did. The little bit that I got to see, it looked really good.
So, I don't know, man. I just want my vampire game. I am going to be getting Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song, I guess is the new game that you can get on PlayStation 5. It retails at, I think, about $50 instead of the standard $60. So I think it is maybe a little bit of a smaller game, but it does look pretty cool. And I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be like a partner to this game, because it is a new, completely different like studio, or a completely different, it's completely different studio, completely different, production team or whatever. But cool. I'm still gonna, it's vampires. It's Vampire the Masquerade. Oh my God. So, guys, if you hear anything about this game, man, chime in, let us know, because I am excited. I want to see this shit.
Wow, they're even putting that out for Nintendo Switch.
What? Swan Song?
Swan Song.
Yep. Yeah. They're definitely spreading that one around a lot. You can get it on pretty much every platform.
Current and previous platform.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
New and last gen platforms, I should say.
So here's a kind of a funny little story. I was at that viewing yesterday, and the deceased, his eldest son, Kevin, was somebody that I kind of knew as a kid, but I haven't seen him in since my early 20s, I'd say. And Kevin was a huge ass gamer. He's a few years older than me. I think he's like maybe 5-6 years older than I am. And he's a big deal old school gamer. We were talking at the funeral home. We were talking about tabletop role-playing games, and comparing notes, and and D&D and this and that stuff. And I said, what are you playing these days? And he goes, I'm in a 4th edition D&D game. And I just looked at him and I'm like, 4th edition? Really? And he goes, yeah, my dungeon, I mean, I'd prefer to play in 5th edition, but my dungeon master likes 4th edition. And I just kind of was like, what? Who hurt you? I was just like, I've never heard anybody say, hey, I prefer 4th edition. Never. That's the first time. First time. It blew my fucking mind. But he said, hopefully they're having a good time. I said, man, I get going back to Pathfinder, go back to 3.75 or even 3.5, but man, go to 4th edition. Yeah, I mean, it's right, Renee. We don't talk about 4th edition. We went
right from 3.5 to 5. I mean, there wasn't anything in between.
I don't understand it. There's a weird way to do the numbers that way, but yeah, it just seemed weird that they did that. it was nice reconnecting with Kevin. Like I said, I haven't seen him in quite a few years, and it's always a shame to reconnect with somebody at their relative's funeral. But still, it was really nice to see him, and I did always remember him to be this, big nerd. He was a big like computer nerd back when, at the beginnings of home computing, like I remember when he was talking about, before diskettes, when we saved programs on cartridges, on cassette tapes.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him doing that, like saving his programs that he was making on cassette tapes, and then talking about how he liked cassette tapes better than diskettes because the diskettes were so fragile. Like you could take this tape, you could toss it across the room, it would be fine. But a diskette was, floppy disk was very.
I remember my buddy's old COM64.
Sure.
The Commodore 64 with the tape drive, and it's like we'd be playing a game and be like, "All right, we're done. You want to play again? Yeah, let's play again. All right, hold on." Zzz, you got to sit there and wait for like 20 minutes while it rewinds.
Yeah. Exactly. And the load times were ridiculously long. I mean, for like a couple of kilobytes, and it was just like
one of the games I remember most playing on the Commodore 64 with my buddy was the baseball game that you see at the beginning of The Princess Bride.
Sure. Yeah.
We used to play that all the time on the COM64.
Wow.
I remember that music, everything.
Wow. Wow. That's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm old.
Well, yes, we are. We're very old. We're very old, everybody. We talk about this shit all the time. I'm so tired.
But we should move on.
Yes, we should move on.
So San Diego Comic-Con is this weekend. So it's which means that this is a slow nerd news week usually.
Correct.
Because everyone's saving up all their big stuff to reveal at Comic-Con.
Correct.
Now, one of the things I am seeing I have heard, is that there's some hopes that we're going to get some big announcements from the MCU this weekend with regards. Yeah, that's to
the rumor. Mutants. Yes, that is the rumor. Now, we will later. We didn't talk about in the pre-show that we can review the final episode of Ms. Marvel.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, we actually haven't done the final episode. That was just last week.
Right, we did. So, but yes, we finally have on Ms. Marvel. We'll talk about it in a little bit. The first utterance of the term mutation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in reference basically to.
Yeah, my week's all running together, so I actually had that. I thought we had already talked about that. Oops. So, nope. That's my bad.
It's okay.
But yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, this is usually a big week. Starts on Thursday, runs through Sunday. A lot of the big announcements usually come out Friday and Saturday.
It's a big deal.
It is.
Someday I'll go.
Yeah, someday. Maybe.
Someday
I'll make the trek.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just going. It's the price involved too. I mean, and staying in the area, finding. I mean, San Diego Comic-Con dominates San Diego for that entire time, and it's incredible.
Yeah, it's a what is that? When you go up exponentially. It's an exponential increase from what Dragon Con is in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which is also, which is around the corner as well. It happens Labor Day weekend. So we've got about a month and a half till that.
Someday I want to go to Dragon Con. I want to go to San Diego Comic Con. I'd like to go to New York Comic Con. I'd like to go to C2E2. I'd like to do all of those at some point. Hell, I should probably go to Motor City Comic Con. I don't think I've been since I was like 17 or 18.
Well, now they just did one in the spring, like a month and a half ago, And then in May, I think it was.
Yeah, it was May.
And now they're doing another one in October. I think it's a bit smaller though. They're just kind of.
Yeah, the main Motor City Comic Con is in May, I believe.
It's in May, and now they're doing another, adjacent one in the same place. I think it's handled by the same company and everything. It's still Motor City Comic Con, but they're also doing it in October. I think that's a little foolish. People only have limited monies, and but I don't make the rules. I have been to C2E2. It is an excellent convention. Really a lot of fun. So yeah, but someday I'm going to get out to C2 or to San Diego. I really
have a good night, Ghost.
Hey, good night, Ghost. Thanks for
hanging
swinging
out.
by, man. Yeah. So I have a listing here of some of the big, the 22 schedule for dates, times, and what's going on.
Well, we definitely don't have to go through all of it.
No. But I'm gonna mention a few of the really big ones that are jumping out here. Thursday night, which is kind of like the quiet, and it's like the opener and everything. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves from noon to 1. No, excuse me, that's 8 to 9. 8 to 9. That's because in Thursday everything's pretty much the bigger things happen in the evening. So yeah, Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, most kinds. Honor Among Thieves, that's the big deal movie, D&D movie that's coming out with Chris Pine, I believe. So they're going to do a big thing with that. Masters of the Universe 40 Years panel from 11 to noon BST. So, well, it says, okay, it's all right. I see what it said. It's noon to 1 Pacific time, which means 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. BST. I think this site is heavily European.
Yeah, that's BST is
British Standard
or something like that. That's
okay. So Masters of the Universe from 3 to 4, Inside Severance from 3:30 to 4:30 in Ballroom 20.
British Summertime.
There we go. Shatner on Shatner from 4:30 to 5:30 in Hall H. And Andy Serkis, Scout Comics, and Thunder present the 22 comic slate from 5 to 6. That's just Thursday. So you got a Shatner thing, you got Masters of the Universe, you got the D&D movie. Pretty cool. On Friday, Lord of the Rings of Power panel, Marvel Studios Animation, AMC's Tales of the Walking Dead, which is a new spin-off show, AMC's The Walking Dead, Rick and Morty's The Vindicators screening. I don't know exactly what that is. Obviously something Rick and Morty related. Keanu Reeves' Berserker, The Immortal Saga continues, and FX's Archer panel. That's all of that main stuff is on Friday. On Saturday, now I would imagine that these are mainly these are the big entertainment panels. These are the big things.
These are going to be the Hall H things.
Yeah. There's going to be comic book panels and, panels that are related to like the comic book industry and maybe the video game industry that can be completely separate. But so on Saturday in the morning, you got Warner Brothers Theatrical. So Warner Brothers probably doing a big thing. You got The Simpsons doing a panel. We got House of the Dragon, which is the new Game of Thrones thing. Star Trek Universe panel. You got Sandman special video presentation and Q&A. Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire from 2 to 2:45 because of the new Interview with the Vampire show. Players of Mythic Quest in Ballroom 20. You got a Marvel Studios panel from 5 to 6. Only 1 hour to do all of the shit they're going to do. So that's going to be epic. And then Back with a Vengeance, Chucky in the Indigo Ballroom. And then Sunday, all they got on Sunday, all they're talking about, What We Do in the Shadows. Exclusive screening and Q&A. It says, unlike the previous 2 years, Comic-Con at Home 22's convention will not be live streamed. Have no fear, though. Games Radar will be putting out a lot of the information. So we'll be bringing it to you probably right after.
Yeah, Nerdist will have it too.
Yeah, and stuff. So, but I'm sure we'll discuss a lot of the news coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. The like 2 days after the con. It'll be great.
Yep. So, speaking of that, though, one of the things that's going on now is there are billboards popping up all over in like major cities
Yeah.
with High Valyrian phrases on them. So if you don't know, High Valyrian is the language of House Targaryen, well, of Valyria, the land where the Targaryens originally came from. Actually,
right. It was often featured. I mean, you'd hear it occasionally on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it was basically they wound up in what's the remnants of Valyria.
Right.
That's where Daenerys wound up across the sea. And it's what she uses to communicate with the dragons. The dragons actually understand High Valyrian. The biggest phrase being Dracarys.
Which is burn the fuck out of it.
Yeah, light them up. I'm pretty sure that's what it means, light them up. But yeah, it's but
sounds about right.
Along with that, Duolingo, the online language learning program, is offering classes in High Valyrian now. They've teamed up with HBO, and they are offering classes in High Valyrian, where they have over 700 sentences and like 150 words that you can learn.
See, I would not take High Valyrian. If I could, Duolingo, I would imagine has Klingon. I would take Klingon.
I don't know. They got Irish, so that's what I was trying to learn on there.
They have Celtic, really, like the old Celtic.
Well, Irish,
yeah,
Celtic. Gaelge, yeah. Which is no longer a dead language. It's actually being brought back. There's whole sections of Western Ireland that actually only speak that pretty much in the towns.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah, over on like the Ring of Kerry area and the Dingle Peninsula, a lot of the towns there, everyone just speaks that. What's funny is I watched the Gaelic Athletic Association, the GAA. And a lot of times, if I'm wanting to watch, especially with the Kerry game, for like Gaelic League football, about a third of the time, the only broadcast I get is off of RTA. RTA, I think, is the station, and it's in Gaelge. So I don't have a fucking clue what they're saying.
No kidding. Wow, that's wild. Because I was always under the understanding that that was essentially, a dead language, and that there were more people in Canada that actually spoke it than in Ireland.
Well,
I read somewhere.
I don't believe that's the case anymore.
Well, good, awesome.
A lot of the signs, most of the signs in Ireland are also in both English and Gaelge.
Such a weird language, though, too.
It is, and as Renee puts it, they cheat at Scrabble. Because I mean, you look at how they spell things, like they put a B and an H together and it makes a V sound.
Like such as the name Siobhan.
Yes. Or actually the goddess Maeve.
Right.
It's actually there's a B and an H in there. The V is actually a B and an H if you look at the old spelling of it.
Right. Exactly. Hey, did we discuss? I can't remember. Did we discuss the closing episode of The Boys? Close the finale.
Yes, we did talk about The Boys finale last week.
Okay, we did. All right.
So yeah, damn.
Right. Jeez. So
But yeah, so what we do in the shadows, we can, since you mentioned that just now too.
Right. They opened up the first 2 episodes of the current season of the new season. And
we get the new episode tonight.
Right. I gotta say, man, the
first episode I enjoyed.
I enjoyed, but the second episode was funnier.
See, I didn't think so. I thought the second episode was kind of it was like it was, the first episode wasn't great, but it wasn't bad, and the second one was a little bit under the first one. So I'm hoping that it's going to pick back up. I'm not crazy about the whole vampire nightclub thing. I think that's dumb, even for them, and
dumb even for them. Huh?
Yeah, I had to reassess that because I'm like, wait.
Well, it makes sense that Nadja would want to do that. you know.
The whole blade thing, though, it's
Oh man, the blood sprinklers.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, I'm looking forward to see what they're gonna do with this. I was also funny, like watching, like the first episode was all very like let's reintroduce everybody and let's get everybody back home and figure things out and where everybody has been and what's been going on, and the fact that Nadia has been over in Europe for the last year dealing with the Vampire Council, and apparently they're all boring.
The Supreme
Vampire Council. But they're all really boring, and so she left. And Guillermo was supposed to go over there, and he was supposed to help take care of her, which apparently he did.
Well, then, he was supposed to go with Nandor.
Right, he was supposed to go with Nandor, but then Laszlo kind of tricked him and shoved him in and shipped him in a box across the sea with Oreos, Pedia, and Pedialyte. To hopefully he could get across the sea. See, now that was one of the things that kind of bothered me about it. It's like, yes, I understand they've been vampires for a long time, but does that mean they forget? Like they've forgotten what it's like to be a human? Like they've forgotten that they have to eat and they have to shit? And
let's face it, this is Laszlo we're talking about.
True. And Laszlo and Nadia. And,
but to start off with, it was Laszlo and
true.
Laszlo doesn't know shit. He only thinks about one thing.
True. Very true. Very true. But even so, man, I mean, like, when Nadia shipped him back, I made sure you had plenty of Oreos, He's like, I can't believe you shipped me across the ocean in a box twice. Yeah.
Well, then he had been delivered a week before Nadia got there.
Yeah.
And it was just in the box, and there's the thumping, and Laszlo just ignored it.
Yeah, well, he thought it was the raccoons. He thought it was something in the walls and shit. And the fact that what was also, I mean, I know it's a comedy. I know it's silly and stuff.
Yeah,
but
we're talking about what we do in the shadows.
Right. In a year, that house went from, being a fairly livable, understandable house to being turned into, I mean, it looked like the house had aged 100 years, I'm like, what the fuck? Hey, Dutch. Yes, we're talking about what we do in the shadows.
And I agree with CD. Baby Colin is creepy as fuck.
Creepy as fuck. I'm excited to see what kind of vampire that he's going to be. If he's not going to, he's not going to be a boring, energy vampire. What kind of energy is he going to feed on? Because I mean, the other energy vampire he encountered fed on like sympathy, basically. He would make people like just depressed and Colin just bored people. So what is this?
She was an emotional vampire.
Right. Yeah. So what is this?
Well,
what is this
but at one point, that someone's holding Colin, and they say something about being bored out of their mind, and they put him down.
Oh yeah, well maybe it's still gonna be like that.
But yeah, man, I think the show is missing something without him.
Well, that's the thing. This is season 3, isn't it? Or is it 4?
This is 4.
This is 4. In season 3, they did show that that Colin is a very important part of the show, and I think we're going to see him grow up very fast. I mean, obviously the kid looks like he's 4 and he's a year old. So I'm guessing we're going to see him grow up very fast.
I am Groot.
Pretty much. Pretty much. We're going to see him grow up very fast. And I'm fucking excited, man. I'm fucking excited to see where this is going to go. I think Kristen Schall's character is also really very funny. She's the one that the
caretaker?
The caretaker, the vampire that takes care of it. It's like, they come into the room and she's just been sitting there for a year. Aren't you hungry? I mean, so also all of Nandor's wives.
Yeah, and the gin
Holy shit.
thing.
And
That
the gin.
I actually thought that was really dumb too.
You didn't think to rub it the other way?
Yeah, that I thought was funny, but then the whole thing with the wives and the gin and him just using up all the
52
wishes.
wishes. How did he get 52 wishes out of that? That's, he goes, how many wishes are 52 wishes? 52. But yeah, they brings all of his wives, and I mean, I love that there was guy wives and there were lady wives.
It was a thing. We didn't.
Yeah, it just goes to show, that vampires are, well, everybody was just a lot sluttier. Pansexuality is not a modern invention, apparently.
But just the whole, go see him. He's got a gold coin for you.
Got a gold coin for you, yeah. And the littlest things too. It was just like, and then just crossing them off of the.
And just poof, just making them dead again. Not killing them.
Like just making them dead. Yeah. Now
making them re-dead.
I think fewer shows embrace the fact that they have gotten more and more money each season for this show, because like the first season, the special effects were there, but they weren't like, I don't know, they just got a lot more elaborate in season 2. Like a lot, you could tell that shit's expensive. They got a lot more expensive transformations and and the Najadal.
Yeah,
was back. I love the Najadal. The ghost, Naj's ghost. It's like, I think he'll grow quick if they're smart. Rage. Maybe it is rage energy. Perfect. I don't know, CD. That's good. That's a good idea, though. Rage energy. Needless to say, I'm super excited to see where this season takes us, and how much I'm gonna laugh, because it's a fucking hilarious show.
I don't know if the doll's a puppet or if it's CGI.
It's both.
Is it?
It's a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a physical object that they then enhance with CGI.
Okay.
I read about it. I was like fascinated. The special effects guy in me was like, how do they do that? So a little bit of both.
So yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Moving on. We should move on.
Yeah. Well, the other show that I've started watching, and it's hard to find the time for it because they are true hour-plus long episodes now, is Orville.
Absolutely. I am just watched the latest episode, which was 7 over the weekend.
Yeah, I've only watched the first 2, so I've seen the really heavy first episode, and then the
after the
horror episode is in episode 2.
The horror episode?
Yeah, it's basically a horror show.
Yeah,
it's the one with the transformation where they go past Krill space.
Right, they have to negotiate to go into that area.
Yeah,
and
and the Krill say, don't go into that nebula because demons live there. 8 eyes, they'll eat you.
It was very much kind of a Borg analogy,
It very much was, and that's what I said to Renee at one point. I'm like, they're the Borg, because they're basically like, you'll become us.
Yeah, but they were insects instead of cyborgs.
They were spiders, really.
Yeah, kind of like and
creepy as fuck.
It's just the Orville all season has impressed the hell out of me by just showing us more and more amazing sci-fi, just really spectacular stuff, and at the same time, like, I mean, it still continues to be this fantastic love letter to Star Trek, but still be its own thing. Man, it's just been so spectacularly good, and they're also continuing to deal with, the the whole idea of social commentary, essentially, because the first episode dealt very much with like post-traumatic stress and trauma
And suicide.
and suicide. I mean, a character kills himself. Now, granted, it is Isaac, the Kalon, who then, they're able to bring him back. But, and I mean, and he didn't have it wasn't an emotional thing. It was because he doesn't have emotions. It was a completely logical thing. He was like, my presence here is disrupting the efficiency of the, thank you, Lula, the efficiency of the crew. So he decides to take himself out of the picture. And then they're like, no, let's not do that. And so they were able to deal with suicide in a in that setting, and how that's evolved as humanity goes. And I just thought it was so good. Just so good. And I liked how
hatred too.
Yes, and hatred, and I mean, it was
based on race.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it was also, it made a lot of sense. I mean, these people are still human, and even though Isaac was responsible for ending the conflict and saving a lot of people, he was also responsible. His race was also responsible for murdering thousands of people. So, and are still in the process of trying to do that. So you can understand their reaction to him walking around and just being,
CD, I can get that. I can understand not wanting so much relating to what's going on in the US right now. Having some of the pew pew in there would be good. And I agree with that, because it can get a little overwhelming. If you watch a show like the Orville because you want entertainment, you don't want preaching. And that's where it can get a little much.
Right.
Is if they take it too far, they're going to lose audience because it's going to get too preachy.
Well, I mean, they have said that this is probably, this is likely the last season, because it is an expensive show, and it's less so much that it's expensive, it's that it's a huge drain on Seth MacFarlane, because he writes, directs, produces, and stars.
Yeah, he got what he wanted, and it's the typical be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it.
Right. It's become kind of too much for him, and I find that to be strikingly ironic, and it bums me out, because it is some of the best sci-fi writing on television right now. It's really quite good, and for them to just kind of go, potentially, cancel it, it really fucking bums me out, man. I want to see more. I want to see a crap ton more. Give me all the fucking Orville. Let's do it. But they have released everybody from their contracts, but they have said, but that doesn't mean they couldn't make new contracts.
Right.
It doesn't mean they couldn't.
They released them because they weren't sure if they were going to do another season, and MacFarlane's focusing on Ted, the TV series, right now.
Which still seems like a weird idea.
I think it's a dumb idea, okay. But hey. And I like the movie. I like the first movie. Yeah. I haven't seen the second one.
The first movie was hilarious. The second movie was funny. It was also funny. I think it was, wasn't the strongest follow-up, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't disappointing. It was just some of these jokes fell flat a little bit, but overall they were both quite funny. And all
right. Well, we should probably talk about the Ms. Marvel finale.
Yes, absolutely.
We can get into that, and then we can get into the 10 more of the shows,
yeah,
if we have some time.
So Ms. Marvel, personally, I felt it had two closing episodes. I felt that the fifth episode was kind of a finale, and then this was like a second finale. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It was entertaining. It was funny. Yeah, Rick Dresden. And at the end of the first or the fifth episode, basically Kamala has resolved the stuff with the clandestine and resolved stuff with her mother and resolved stuff with her grandmother in Karachi, and now they're going home. And at the end of the fifth episode, we saw Kamran had escaped from damage control and had hooked up with Bruno, and then
they're at Bruno's apartment.
They were at Bruno's apartment, and there was a drone from damage control had found Kamran, and he basically blasted it and blew out the
kind of on instinct, like he
his powers have grown exponentially because his mother, when she died, pretty much passed all of her power to him, and he doesn't know how to handle it. So but yeah, just blows out the convenience store that's underneath.
Damage control does. The damage control drone does.
The drone does, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Circle Q.
The Circle Q, which, oh my God. And then so that's kind of where that episode ended. And we see the next episode, we see Kamala's back in Jersey after a very long flight, apparently. Excuse me. And she gets and then they pick up, and they pick up from there. Now, Kamala's mother does know at that point, she does know that she's superhuman, and then Kamala decides that she's going to sit down and tell dad and brother.
Oh yeah, and they tell the whole family basically.
And she's getting ready to tell them, and she's like, and they make some smart ass comments and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, okay, great. So you guys already know."
Yeah, you told him.
You told him. Yeah,
you told them.
She's like, she told her father, and then apparently dad doesn't know how to work the speakerphone, and so her brother heard.
Yeah. Which has been established, dad doesn't know technology.
Yeah, he doesn't. I think he's kind of fascinated by it, but he's all thumbs when it comes to technology.
So they just pepper her with questions.
Right. And I mean, you gotta admit, they handle it very well. I mean, when you suddenly find out your kid is superhuman and is going out and doing superhuman things, and they still were like, "Okay, honey, just be careful out there." And you're like,
well, then,
oh my God.
And then mom gives her a gift.
Oh, that was so cool.
And basically it's her costume. Yeah.
The costume she ends up wearing for the rest of the episode. And God, I'm so sorry. I keep yawning. She gives her and it's her traditional Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel costume. And so I thought that was kind of a cool touch because, and they even comment about the stitching later on. Her friend is like, "Hey, did you get that from?" Yeah, you could tell from the stitching. Did you get that from Karachi? And and so there's a bunch of eventually Kamala and Bruno and Kamran, and they all
her friend calls the one that's on the mosque board, calls her up and basically is like talking with her, and she's like, "Wait, you don't know? The Circle Q blew up and blah blah blah." And then Kamala's like, "Wait, what?" So yeah, she goes looking for Bruno and Kamran, and eventually finds him.
And you can tell she's really upset and worried about Bruno. I mean, he is one of her best friends, and but now they've got to hide Bruno, or I mean, not hide Bruno, hide Kamran, and because damage control comes looking. I mean, they even go so far as to go into their mosque.
Yeah, so they go to the mosque first.
Yeah,
that was actually kind of funny the way that they all got behind her and everything, and they got him out, and the whole thing with her friend, and no, you can't go in there, just storage.
Yeah,
like break
Don't
it down.
My parents.
I'm like, my thing was I'm like, do they have a search warrant?
They don't.
I didn't see a search warrant. You can't just go into a private place like that, and
you can't, particularly a house of worship.
Yeah,
man, you can't do that. Yeah.
And then there's that one guy just sitting in there listening to music and on headphones. He's like, oh, and she's like, no, he's my boyfriend, and if my parents find out, then my mom's gonna blow a gasket and blah blah blah. And the guy's like, Hear that? She called me your boyfriend.
I'm her boyfriend. Giggity, giggity. You might as well have said giggity.
See you, Dutch.
Short, gotta go. See you, Dutch. Thanks for swinging in. We're gonna get together again soon. So yeah, I mean, the show itself, God, it was pretty cool, because eventually they do figure out that they got, because Kamran is pretty much wanted by these as a terrorist by damage control, and he'd gotten away from them. So then they have to hide him and get him away.
Yeah, and they're like, where can we go? The school, it's empty.
Yeah, and I liked how it was kind of cool how everybody just kind of came together and like to try and help this guy.
Yep.
Her brother shows up and she's like, "Oh, I don't need a babysitter," and they're like, and
well,
he's like,
and so the other thing is Kamala calls the Red Dagger,
right,
and says, "Hey, I need help," and he's like, "Get him to the docks. I've got a guy that can get him out."
Yeah.
And
so now they have to do that.
Yeah, and Kamran's like, "No, they've been hunting me and my people forever. They're our enemies. They're just going to kill me." And she's like, "No, I trust him. That's, he's going to get you out."
Exactly. And we, not to jump ahead, but we do see him, going into the restaurant, and the Red Dagger going, "All right, take a seat," But that's jumping ahead. So we get they do have a confrontation with the authorities.
That whole thing in the school I thought was great.
Yeah, it was. They were utilizing their resources that they had to stop these guys using
and the way she drew up the plan on the chalkboard was just
it's really funny. But yeah, the way they were using fire extinguishers to create like a smoke screen, and they were using the pitching machine.
Yep, and all of them wearing the same hoodies so that to distract everybody. It was riding bikes through the halls. And
I mean, one of the things that bothered me though was just the fact, and that ends up coming to a head later, was the fact that they were shooting at kids. I mean, granted, they weren't using gun like traditional like bullet guns until later, but they're using these advanced weaponry, and
they're using Chitauri weapons is what they're using.
Yeah, well, yeah, I adapted Chitauri. Yeah, it looked like some sort of like stun weapon, but
it was definitely using Chitauri tech.
Yeah, and they're shooting at kids, man. You can't do that. You can't. It doesn't matter that the kid's got superpowers or is dangerous. You don't shoot at fucking children. And
the main damage control chick was ordered to stand down and leave.
And leave. The boss was like, leave, and she did it anyway. And I think we're going to see her again at some other point. I think we're going to definitely see her again.
I think so too. And she may be working for Val eventually.
Exactly. That's what I'm guessing. So yeah, I mean, man, it was so good though. It was so good. And so yeah, we get to see Kamala, because at one point she and Kamran create like after all the shenanigans in the school have happened, and everybody else has been captured, and there's just the two of them, and Kamala basically creates a dome over the two of them.
Well, yeah, because they go outside. He freaks out. Yeah, right. They go outside and they start using sonic weapons against him.
Right.
Against the two of them. And Kamran's basically, that's it. I'm done. I've had enough, and starts throwing his blasts around like these giant these crystals up.
Right. It's like a solid crystal, like an energy. It's an energy. These manipulating the same energy that Kamala is in like these crystal forms, and kind of a malleable kind of crystal thing, but it's a little different color. His is more golden, whereas hers is more purpley, and but he starts just freaking out and just shooting out. First, he shoots out like an energy wave.
Yeah, which I think is something he can't control.
Correct. And so then he does that, and then
he starts blowing up,
sending out the crystal.
He starts flipping cars and
right. And some people have actually speculated that is potentially the replacement for the Terrigen Mists cloud that they had in the Marvel universe in the comic books that created all the new Inhumans that were on planet Earth. But they're saying that this is going to replace that, and that's what's going to cause like mutation or something like that. And I think that's bullshit. I think that they already have a different plan for the mutants. But anyway, Kamala like kind of creates the shield so that she can just try and calm him down.
Well, and hold his energy inside of it.
Right, exactly.
So then she's the only one at risk.
Mm-hmm. And so she's able to kind of calm him down a bit, and they're going to try and get away. But guns are now, they're shooting real guns, and they've got cars are being flipped and shit. And we see Kamala embiggen.
Yeah,
we see her do what she's kind of known for doing in the comic books, which is make herself bigger.
Well, she opens up a hole for him to run out of while the dome's still up too.
Right, exactly. So once again, honestly, I'm just like, I'm loving the show. I'm loving what they did with it, what they've done with it.
You also see the entire community come together.
That was the other cool thing. Yeah,
they all stand with her.
Mm-hmm. Even the cops.
Yep.
The cops in that area, they stood.
They turned around and faced off against damage control and said, right. No.
They wouldn't. Yeah, they wouldn't. They wouldn't get out of the way.
Yep.
They didn't stop them, but they also wouldn't get out of the way, and they didn't help, which was an interesting note. They're like, well, we're not going to stop the federal government from doing their jobs, but we're not going to help you either. But yeah, that was the thing. I mean, they were the people down there were more in danger because of what
damage control,
because of damage control and what they did. So eventually the boss calls and says, and basically calls out the woman who was in charge there and says, you defied a direct order. You are relieved of command. Get your shit and get out of there, And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And I think we're definitely going to see her again. She's going to end up working for Valerie, Contessa de Fontaine, Allegra de Fontaine. Yeah, I think that's it. And I'm pretty certain we're going to see her again. And then Kamala both Kamran and Kamala were able to get away. I mean, short version anyway.
Yeah.
And man, so it was just great though. I mean, I was like, God damn, it's just so much fun. And I mean, there was even a point where Kamran and Kamala looked like they were going to have a kiss, and they get interrupted by Bruno. And personally, I didn't like Kamran and Kamala. I didn't really see it. I didn't ship it, as they say. But at the same time, I also wasn't all about her and Bruno. I think it was almost a little too forced.
And then there was her and the Red Dagger too.
Right. She's got to make it a lot of attention from all these boys.
Yeah, she got boyfriends all over.
All over. Needless to say, it was a pretty solid ending to the show. Maybe not maybe not my favorite of all the endings, but it was still a really solid ending.
So then at one point near the end, they're actually talking, and you find out that Cameron left his car.
Right.
So then Bruno is like, well, I'm going to take it because I'm going to California. And her one friend is like, no, I look better driving it. They're like arguing over who's going to get the car. And
yeah, eventually she picks his pocket and just takes the keys.
Yeah.
And they go say take it. Like, yeah, it was like 1 week later. And my phone just died. But we also do, there's we're seeing a lot of support from her father, from her mother, you're from the community. I thought that was just so cool.
The thing about
the community still doesn't know who she is.
Right.
But all these TikToks and Instagram posts are happening, or are talking about her and everything, and about how all the community, all the support, and like, yeah, we have our own superhero now, and that was really cool.
Well, then there's the whole thing with her and her dad on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
and you hear like sirens and stuff in the background. He's like, "Go ahead,"
Yeah.
and she takes off, and they show her
Yeah.
sitting up on top of one of the light posts, and
yeah, just kind of looking out on the water and
yeah,
stuff like that.
but
Looking at New York, honestly.
yeah, it's looking at New York. But earlier on, before that, we get Bruno talking with her as her friends is in the car waiting to drive away.
Yes.
And this is the huge thing that my jaw actually dropped. I was like,
Me too.
did he just say?
Holy shit! So
So-
basically, his brother asked Bruno to run some tests because he was wondering why he didn't, or whether he might have powers, or why he didn't have powers. And so Bruno ran his genetic makeup, and he said, and he did notice that there was something very different about Kamala's genetic makeup.
Yeah, he ran tests against her family,
Right.
and said there's something there, like a mutation. And there's a pregnant pause,
right,
in which you hear the 80s X-Men theme song.
Mm-hmm. And we're like, I got like fucking plots, man. I was like, fuck yeah! And I looked at Stella and I'm like, oh my god! So are they gonna make Kamala Khan a mutant now?
They are. I think they are.
I think they are
And
too.
from what I've read, that was originally what she was supposed to be. When the creator of Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, first did it, they had created her as a mutant.
I think it's G. Willow Wilson.
Yeah.
Like that.
And then there were some others that were involved too. But yes, when they all created Kamala, their intention was that she was a mutant. And then
the
Marvel
editors
came
were
back
like,
and said, no, we want her to be an Inhuman.
Right. Because they were kind of they weren't supporting the X titles as much. They were trying to kind of push some of the other things because they didn't have control over the movie rights for any of the mutants anymore at the time, movie and television rights. Now they do, since they bought out,
Yep. So yes, I believe she is going to be a mutant. She will be the first one in the MCU. Well, second one technically.
I mean, technically, well, they were saying that, I guess the director of Black Widow had said that Ursa Major, who you see briefly in the Russian prison, is supposed to be a mutant, but you don't really see him. He's not. He's just arm wrestling with the Crimson, not the Dynamo, the Crimson
Guardian,
the Red Guardian. And but later on, they also talked about, like, Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch were traditionally, they were mutants, but in the movie they were experimented on by Hydra. That's how they got their powers. I guess there could be an argument that Hydra just unlocked their powers that had been hidden away, or had been, whatever. But still, I don't know. This could be pretty cool, man. I mean, I'm in.
Technically, Scarlet Witch was supposed to be a mutant, but in the MCU, her powers were unlocked by the Infinity Stones.
Well, her powers were enhanced by them. Like in the comics, she was always a mutant until
right.
But she wasn't. She was just. But she also tapped into magic power as well.
Yeah, and in the MCU, her powers were pretty much granted to her by the Space Stone.
Yeah, that's right. They were experimenting with the stone.
No, I'm sorry, the Mind Stone.
The Mind Stone. They were experimenting with the stone that they got from Loki's staff, and they were experimenting on the twins.
Yep.
On Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. So, don't know how they're going to do it, but I'm excited to see how they're going to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, they finally opened the doors, and that's why there's a lot of hope that we're going to hear more this weekend from Feige at San Diego Comic-Con.
there's always some kind of announcement.
Yep.
You know, they were also talking
And it's
about
usually pretty big.
Right. They've also talked about that we're probably going to see and or hear more information about the next phase and the next phase of TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hear official announcements about potentially about Daredevil and about Echo and about some of these other shows that we know are coming on the horizon, we're just supposed to hear more official shit.
And now this isn't Marvel and MCU stuff, but I'm hearing more about the season 3 of The Mandalorian and how it's supposed to play a key role in bridging the gap between the like 6 and 7. There's supposed to be some major event in this one that.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Good. Let's see more of that. You know, I mean, I kind of like the post Jedi era of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I just don't want to see another, so in season 3, do we get 2 episodes that's just Boba Fett and not Mandalorian to make up for the 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett that didn't have fucking Boba Fett in them?
I would like to see, I think in the next season of Mandalorian, I wouldn't mind seeing Boba like as a guest star in a couple episodes. I think that would be fun. I think I was for the most part entertained by Boba Fett, but at the same time I was like, it was weak.
I was entertained by it, but I thought it was a very weak show for what
it was weak. It was weak storytelling wise, compared to Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
There was just so much cool shit in Mandalorian and so many cool story points and world building and stuff like that. And I think they fell short with Boba Fett. I think they were just they were banking on Boba and his popularity and how people just love that character. And I think
I don't like the treatment of him in that.
Right. Yeah, I didn't mind it as much. I thought seeing him grow was fine, but I thought it happened too fast. Again, I thought it was something that I would have thought, I would have been okay with seeing at least half of the episodes where he was still with the Sand People and learning to be a good person or a better person, Yeah, as opposed to being the first 2 episodes and then he's like, oh, I found myself, and then.
So this is like 8 to 9 years after Empire.
Yes.
And 6 years after Jedi. Or 5 or 6 years after Jedi. So it's been 5 or 6 years since he was in the Sarlacc pit and got out. So he's had some time. Mm-hmm. So he was with the Sand People for a number of years.
Yeah, he absolutely was. But what I meant is that it just seemed, storytelling wise, it just seemed to happen so fast.
Right.
I'm sure he was with them for a while, probably at least a year, I'd say.
Well, I mean, dude, the Anakin's fall was really fast if you just watch the movies.
Sure.
It was like, okay, I'll go kill younglings now.
Mm-hmm.
It was extremely fast, but I think that if you watch the Clone Wars, you see that more gradual change in it.
And that's the problem with this kind of storytelling. And these shorter form, like shorter season shows where they only have 10 episodes to tell the story when they really need 20.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the only problems we're seeing with these things. Yes, we're getting really good. For some of them, we're getting really good storytelling, but they've got to do it in 10 episodes when the story really calls for more.
Yep.
It's interesting to note that the difference between like writing a movie and writing a season of shows.
Yeah, you can do so much more in a season, but you still are limited. I still would love to see the Dresden Files come back, but have them do them as the books rather than what they did on TV, and do one book a season.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You could very well do that,
Or even do like the first couple books in the first season because they're not very long books.
Well, they could do like the first 2 books, maybe in the first season, the second two books in the, 3 and 4 in the second season, and then
3 and 4 would be tough.
Later.
1 and 2 I could see doing in the first season, but then 3 I think needs its own season because that one that's Grave Peril.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then the fairies.
And Summer Night's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and Summer Night's a pretty big story too. So I could see like Stormfront and Full Moon in the first season, and then doing the other ones one season at a time.
Yeah, and you could do them. You could probably do them in about 12 episode seasons.
I think you could even do 10 1-hour episodes.
Yeah, well, I like 12.
You're moving out of the frame there, dude. You gotta move.
Sorry.
Yeah. You've been slowly moving, sliding over all show.
Oh yeah, I'm just looked at the screen. And it's like, oh yeah, you're right, I'm off. Yeah. So, but anyways, guys, stay tuned for San Diego news.
Oh, and then one last thing for Ms. Marvel, the mid-credit scene.
Oh yeah. The credits in there. Where we saw. Apparently, she had some kind of energy surge or something.
Yeah, she like sees her bracelet glow, and all of a sudden, she like folds in and gets sucked into her closet and blows a hole in the door.
Right, and then we see Carol Danvers has replaced her.
Yeah, steps out,
and she just looks around. She's like, "What the hell?"
Now
her costume is a little bit.
She sees all the Carol Danvers, all the Captain Marvel stuff on the walls, and she's just like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah. So now the interesting thing about that is, in the Marvel comics, in the lore of Marvel comics, for the original Captain Marvel, the Kree Captain Marvel, he used to switch places. At one point, he would switch places with Rick Jones, who was the kind of everybody's teenage or young sidekick. He was the reason why Bruce Banner was exposed to gamma radiation and became the Hulk. He was a friend of Captain America's. He was a big friend of Captain Marvel's. He's been one of those supporting characters in Marvel comics dating back to the 60s. And largely was kind of like the mascot or the sidekick of the entire Avengers team. And at one point, like I said, they both Captain Marvel and Rick got the Negabands. There were these bracers that they would wear. And when Rick would slam them together, he would be replaced by Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel it was kind of this whole kind of like almost take on Shazam, really. And what would happen is Rick Jones would be then placed in the negative zone, and Captain Marvel would take his place. So they would swap places. And it was Rick's way of calling Captain Marvel to be a superhero where he needed to help. And eventually they were able to get into the same universe. And then instead of swapping, going from the negative zone to the prime zone, the prime universe, they would just swap places and not swap universes. But because that's what it is. The negative zone is another dimension, essentially. And but then it was a thing. It was the Negabands have been a thing with Captain Marvel for a long time. So to see her bracelet being treated in a similar kind of fashion, I found that to be very interesting. It is obviously the way they're going to be bringing in Captain Marvel into Ms. Marvel, and since they're both going to be in the next Marvel movie, or the Marvels instead of Captain
which
Marvel
is still over a year away.
Correct. So I do like the fact that they did leave Captain Marvel wide open for a sequel too, so they could easily do a second season.
Oh, Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, or Ms. Marvel. They could easily do a second season. So hopefully we'll see that.
Yeah, cool. All right. We're right about an hour and a half. Do you want to go ahead and run through 10 shows real quick? And we'll still try and keep it under 2 hours this week?
Yeah, absolutely. We are at that point where the shows are getting really good. I mean, these top 30 shows, we've already had Star Trek, and we've had so, Fargo, and we've had South Park and 30 Rock, and like Next Gen is what
CD said, nah.
Thanks, CD. Appreciate it. We're trying to make content for you. We've had Oz.
Oh, see, I was taking that as that he didn't want us to keep it under 2 hours.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's probably what he meant. So let's see where. Number 29, we have The Shield. The first episode of The Shield ends
That was
with
a great show.
Cop Vic Mackey shooting a colleague in the face, and his crimes just get worse from there. A twisted tale of police corruption in LA. It bagged awards by the score, was a clear influence on Breaking Bad. It's also the rarest of things, a TV show that actually gets better with each season.
I love that show.
I never really watched The Shield, but I always heard really good things about it.
The main guy in it is the guy that played Ben Grimm in the Fantastic Four movies.
Fantastic Four movies, yep, absolutely. He did a great job. He was actually one of the better parts.
He was also Commissioner Lowe in Gotham.
Yep. We have number 28. We have Deadwood from 04 to 06. Now,
that has been on my list for years to watch.
Me too. I like Westerns, and I've also heard, I've just heard so many good things about it. It was one of those shows that also HBO canceled before it had a finale, really. I mean, the last episode, or the last episode of the show ended kind of on not exactly a cliffhanger, from what I understand, but it did end with where there was a lot of questions to be answered. So they did make a follow-up movie.
Yeah.
Which
Serenity style.
HBO too. Yep. HBO gave the Western a shot in the arm with Deadwood and revived a tired TV genre. Ian McShane and Timothy Olyphant lead an excellent cast of morally gray characters searching for fortune.
Oh God, I didn't know that was Timothy Olyphant. Now I gotta watch it.
Yeah. In the titular town, bar owner Al Swearingen is a gift of a character that puts McShane on the map for U.S. audiences and continued HBO's impressive run of creating groundbreaking television. I mean, HBO doesn't make bad TV, man. 27, Parks and Recreation from 09 to 15. In a world of easy cynicism, Parks and Rec is good-natured, sweet, and optimistic. What started as a promising if unspectacular twist on The Office from the U.S. Rapidly found its own voice there, thanks largely to Amy Poehler's performance as Leslie Knope, a minor civil servant with big plans. This is a show about people trying to do their best, failing regularly, but occasionally getting results. It gave us Chris Pratt before Guardians of the Galaxy, and introduced the immortal Ron fucking Swanson. It's actually what it says in there.
Yeah, so that's one I've never seen.
It's another show that I've caught episodes. Every time I've watched it, I've been entertained. I thought it was funny. I've just never watched it regularly, and it's on my list as well.
Although I think that's on Peacock now. I don't think it's
on Peacock now. It just recently left Netflix, I believe.
Yeah, so it's tough for me to watch those because I don't have the non-commercial versions, and I'm not going to sit through shows with commercials just to stream them. I was going to say I'd put that on the list after I finish Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
First world problems, man. First world problems.
Yep,
Chris. You know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it though. I'm not gonna watch commercials. I've gotten to the point where I don't watch commercials unless I have to. Like on Paramount for those shows, I do watch commercials, but honestly, I'm usually on my phone during those.
Yeah, just that's what I do. I just I check my games or whatever. Number 26, we have Cheers from 1982 to 93. It
was a good show.
Yeah, although sometimes overshadowed by its own second spin-off, Frasier, Cheers' influence looms large over today's sitcom landscape. Why it's endured since its final season aired, has a lot to do with the sheer wealth of laugh-out-loud lines. It's also because of all the characters were so richly drawn. Friends may be slicker and packed with more jokes per minute, but Cheers has characters that you genuinely care about, no matter that it lasted a massive 11 seasons, or no wonder that it lasted a massive 11 seasons and remains a regular fixture on TV channels around the globe. Cheers was a great show.
Norm!
Hands down, was a great show. Norm! So,
and Cliff with all his useless knowledge.
Yeah. Number 25, we have Band of Brothers that only ran in 01. I never watched it.
I never watched it. I heard it was really good. I'm not big on war stories.
Yeah. It's about the Second World War, about men, about people fighting in the Second World War. It was an HBO show. The early performances from Michael Fassbender, Tom Hardy, and Simon Pegg to spot throughout the 10 episodes. It's only 10 episodes, and I mean, it's one of those things that maybe I should give a watch at some point because
I've heard great things about it. So CD just said Band of Brothers. I rented it. It was a great series. Renee said it's amazing. Band of Brothers is so good.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to get around to watching that eventually. HBO Max. Number 24. Guess what it is?
24.
Exactly.
Which I don't think is that great of a show.
You know what? I never got around to watching it. But I will say that I found it to be a genius kind of idea. That the concept that it takes place in the 24 hours.
Yep. Each show is 1 hour.
And real time takes place in 24 hours. And I was like, wow, that is genius. It's really fucking cool. 24 is one of the most ridiculous television shows ever made. It's also one of the most exciting. The Adventures of Jack Bauer. Surely the world's unluckiest man unfold in real time, each episode filling the hour of his day. Yes, Justin, I know. Tough, unflinching, and sometimes heartbreaking. It's relentless viewing. Kiefer Sutherland's career was revitalized, and who doesn't love Marilyn Raxgove's adorable tech wizard, Chloe? She was pretty funny. So, number 23, we have...
A sneeze. Son of a chew.
Sneeze. Oh, ouch.
No,
number 23.
A chew is son of a sneeze.
Jesus. Number 23, we have Lost from 04 to 10.
That was a good show. I don't know that I'd put it that high, but it was a good show.
Yeah, it's another one of those shows that you just can't watch everything. I never got around to watching Lost. I had almost zero interest in it. Really.
I watched it for the first season and then kind of fell off. And then when they released everything on a streaming service, I actually went back and watched the whole thing. And actually, it's honestly, I don't think it's that great of a show.
Well, it also
I was entertained by it, but
and one of the most disappointing endings of all time.
Yeah,
I understand. So, I'll get around to it eventually, but it's not something that I've always been like, oh, I gotta watch it.
No.
Sometimes there's some things you just kind of don't want to watch because of the like
the hype.
The hype, yeah. You want to almost be contrary, you just want to. I don't want to watch that. Everybody watches that. I don't want to watch it. I'm not normally like that.
I was going to say.
Times I've been like,
yeah, fuck, I'm totally blanking on the term. Fuck. Oh,
I'm a whore for media. What?
No, the people who hate things just because they're popular. They're the craft brew snobs, and they're the.
Oh, I'm not a
hipsters. Yes,
I'm not a hipster.
Yeah.
Number 22, we have that's funny. I tease Stella about this all the time. Number 22, we have Frasier.
I just started rewatching that too because
from 93 to
I love that show.
Yeah, Frasier was surprisingly a very good show, and it was also one of the more intelligent sitcoms that has ever happened because the two of the main characters were very well-spoken, highly educated, if not genius level people. It says Frasier,
but they were arrogant assholes.
But they were arrogant, right? They were arrogant elitists, and so it was difficult.
And their dad wasn't.
And right, but that's how they balanced it. We got having their dad kind of bring them down to earth a lot.
And
so it says Frasier never shies away from referencing high art, but then it is a show that's a virtual banquet for smart, culturally savvy audiences. The brilliance of its setup is pitching the intellectually precious Crane brothers up against their blue-collar father, recently retired police officer Martin, now living with the Cheers Frasier after being shot in the hip while on duty. What follows is sitcom gold that, at its height, managed to even surpass the charms of Cheers. Now, there is talk about, because there's a lot of these reunion shows that they've been doing where they do like a season and they do, a reunion show they did for what's it one? The one with Christ. There's been a bunch of them, but when is the oh my God, on the tip of my fucking tongue. Never mind.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm like it was the redhead and her gay best friend and his gay best friend and her assistant.
Dharma and Greg?
No,
or not Dharma and Greg. Will and Grace.
What, babe?
Will and Grace.
Will and Grace. Thanks. My brain.
That's
is
what
Swiss
I meant
cheese.
when I said Dharma and Greg. I meant Will and Grace.
That's what you meant. Yeah, my brain is Swiss cheese right now. But there is talk about bringing Frasier back, at least for a season. There's still, I guess it's being written and they're still working on it, but because the actor who played their father passed away, so there won't be that guy. There's also a question as to whether
Eddie's not around anymore either.
Well, of course, the dog died a long time ago. There's a question as to whether they're going to have David Hyde Pierce as his brother still on the show. So it could just be fucking Frasier. It just could be Frasier.
Kelsey Grammer.
We'll see. Kelsey Grammer. So number 21.
Which, by the way, Renee says that she won't watch Frasier just because she never liked Frasier on Cheers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So number 21, we have arguably one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. Personally, I was never super into the show, but I did enjoy watching it from time to time. We have Seinfeld.
Hated Seinfeld. Another show. Not a fan.
Right. Another show that Stella really enjoys.
It was on the same night as Frasier, actually.
And it was right. It was. I never watched it regularly, but like I said, I would watch it periodically and I would go, okay, that's funny. And I get it. I get why it's funny, but it just was never a show that I was interested in watching all the time. It's about a bunch of assholes. Yeah.
That do nothing except complain.
Living in New York City.
Yeah.
This is created by Larry David and the eponymous stand-up comedian himself. Seinfeld's the sitcom that proves you don't need a situation to make a great comedy, just memorable characters combating life's petty irritants. One man and his neurotic trio of friends, Seinfeld is low on concept, high on farce, and big on horrendously catchy slapbass. Garnering the respect of every 90s critic, Jerry took his final curtain call after 9 series, bowing out, still very much on top. And that's true. He left.
Yeah, so
they're at top of their game.
My girlfriend and I at the time, that was Thursday night comedy. That was Thursday night NBC, and it was the night to not miss a show because it was back before DVRs and all that. And her and I would get together, and we would sit down and we would watch Friends at 8. Skip Seinfeld at 8:30. We'd do other things, talk, hey, go make some food, whatever. And then be back in time for Frasier at 9.
Nice.
Or no, it was, what was it? It was the rotating show was at 8:30. Seinfeld was at 9, and then Frasier was at 9:30. So we usually watch whatever the rotating show was at 8:30, and then would skip Seinfeld at 9, and then watch Frasier at 9:30.
All right.
I think.
I just like
one of those.
Like I said, I was like, as sitcoms go. I think at the time I really wasn't watching a lot of sitcoms, and I watched Friends occasionally. I would watch Frasier occasionally, but I just
must see TV. That's what they called it.
Right. Must see TV on Thursday nights. The last one we're going to do tonight before we go. Number 20, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Another Larry David show.
Another Larry, you're right, correct. Spinning off from a 1-hour special back in '99, Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm. This is the Seinfeld co-creators, another great creation. While mostly improvised dialogue, Curb follows David in his highly fictionalized life in LA. It's as snarky and acerbic as you'd expect, but also shot through with pathos. You'll laugh, wince, and thank the heavens it's still going. Because it is. I mean, they don't do it constantly, but they'll do a season and they'll go a couple of years and then they'll do another season. But yeah, it is still going for 20 plus years.
It was one of those that it was out there and then it got canceled and they stopped doing it. And then they decided to do it again and it had huge reaction and everyone loved it. So they've continued doing it.
I got to admit, I mean, I've watched it a number of times and it's funny. But at the same time, Larry David is just sometimes this straight up annoying.
And that's why I don't watch it because I really don't like Larry David.
You know, the funny thing is he does a Bernie Sanders impression on Saturday Night Live sometimes. Like they'll bring him on to do Bernie Sanders, and they're actually cousins.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, it's like Bernie Sanders is.
I'll say he looks like an old dude from Brooklyn, like Bernie.
Yeah, exactly. So that's 29 to 20. We've got 20 more to go on these, and honestly, some of these I'm just scanning over a couple of them, and we're scanning over real quick. There's some top-notch shows, man, and you're gonna appreciate this a great deal, I'm sure.
Cool. All right, well, we should wrap things up for tonight.
Yep, wrapping things up, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight on this incredibly hot Friday evening. It's 80. I'm looking at the temperatures at 84 degrees. And
It's actually really warm
o'clock
here in the office because
Yeah.
I got the doors all closed up, and I have one vent that's right here underneath my desk, and it's just not enough.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed the show, and stay cool, guys. Tell all your friends about us. We like to get we got to get those followers up. We want to get them up higher. We're at 71. Let's get some more followers, some more subscribers if we can, guys. We are on all of the places that you can find quality podcasting. Guys, we're on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on the Odyssey app, we're on Google Play and and iTunes. We're on all the places. Check us out. iHeartRadio. You can download and stream the episodes from our website, nerdswithalcoholshow.com. We do this every Tuesday night. Chris puts up the shows on YouTube a couple of days later. Sometimes he falls behind, but he's a bit.
I'm still a couple behind. I got two more. I got the last two nerd shows to put up. I just got the latest Tavern Nights up today. I want to make sure I got that up before our new show this week.
I know you're a busy guy. Guys, we got a D&D game this Friday night, Tavern Nights. Be sure to come check us out. We are in the Nerd Basement playing D&D, so be sure to swing on in.
Friday
7:30
Eastern
Friday
time
night on this channel.
Yeah, you can follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Instagram, Drinking Nerds, and Twitter at Drinking Nerds. We're also on YouTube, Drinking Nerds. So, you can find us pretty much everywhere. Just look for Drinking Nerds or Nerds with Alcohol, and you should be able to find us.
I hope so.
Everyone, I haven't checked our Google status in a while, but I've seen us either come up as first or as far down as third sometimes, but usually we're at least on the first and the top few. All
right. So we did get when we got some good news. We got a screaming crap ton of downloads last week. So
yeah, we did. We got like 1,000 some downloads, like 1,000 downloads last week. So
it's pretty great.
Yeah. So people are still finding us. So that's cool.
That's awesome. Yep. Great.
So we appreciate all of you, and thanks a lot, CD, for coming out. Ghost Hand, Dutch, Wings Kook, everybody that participated in chat. We appreciate you all.
Absolutely, we do.
Oh, next week we will be here on Monday instead of Tuesday.
That's right.
I have some stuff going on Tuesday, so we had to move. We're moving the show to Monday. So just to give you a heads up.
So different bat time, same bat channel. No, the same bat time, different bat channel.
Yeah. Well, no, same
sort of.
Different bat day, same bat time.
Right. Whatever. I was trying to be funny and I fucked it up. So, guys, be sure to, if you got a minute, got a chance, coming out to Canterbury Village this Saturday and Sunday. We open it.
If you're in the Detroit area.
If you're in the Detroit area, it's 10 to 6. Good time. And come out, get a cider slushy at Yates, get a turkey leg, get some. My buddy Carl has got a booth at the festival selling these great veggie wraps. Veggie and cheese wraps are really, really, it's a kind of a Middle Eastern dish, but it hummus and went over well.
I got a D&D weekend this weekend. I've got both my games, Friday and Saturday.
Well, you got some. What about Sunday? Come on Sunday.
See some jousting. You get to see. To do everything that I don't get done on Saturday because I've got D&D all day.
You get to see Ross Trombauer jousting, and it still kind of boggles my mind a little bit for those of you guys who know Ross. So yeah, come on out, guys, and have a good time because it's fun. It's a fun little festival. So.
All right. Well, I think that's going to about do it.
That is going to do it.
On that note.
And on that note.
Until next time.
Slancha.
Oh, all right. That was pretty good.
It was.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.